Karen Restoule is a very, very smart policy analyst, and she gives lots of advice to very smart people across Canada. She's an Indian. She joins me right now because I speak to Indians, as they call themselves, and sometimes when I ask, I say, like, what do you want? And most of them say, just to have bureaucrats get out of our life.
Indeed.
And so I put the question to you. What should happen? We should have discussions. We should have people understanding all sides of the culture. But the government spends a fortune under the Indian Act. And Indians, from my point of view, say, just leave us alone and let us work.
Well, for a hot minute, let's take a step back 300 years, Stephen. 1763, the Royal Proclamation comes into effect. And among it, of course, it ends the war, but among it, there's a declaration that the Crown shall be responsible for Indians and Indian lands. So from 1763, there's now a fiduciary obligation on the Crown to care for, as you say, the Indians.
Doesn't that make an Indian look like a child?
That makes me very mad. I think we were doing just fine up until that point, and we're doing fine in a lot of ways today, but the Crown and government have since grossly interfered into our day-to-day,
right,
and it's caused a lot of problems. So the solutions, as you say, what are they?
Yeah, what are they?
There are two in my view.
Just to erase the Indian Act?
I would say yes, but we need an off-ramp. You can't just, pull legislation and say, let's figure it out on your own. I'm more of a let's figure it out together.
Right.
One proposal would be recognizing autonomy of Indigenous peoples here in Canada, making sure that we can self-govern ourselves in the same way that we once did.
That you would be citizens of an Indian community or whatever we want to call it.
Which we are.
But free citizens.
And in a lot of ways, our treaties were signed with the Crown prior to Confederation.
Right.
So in a lot of ways, if we want to get down the technicalities of it, in a lot of ways we do remain sovereign nations who entered into agreements with the Crown. But nonetheless, let's not nerd out too hard today.
Great phrase. But really, you guys, Indians, are just ruled so much by bureaucrats. If there was an act for, Huguenots, it'd drive me crazy.
Yes.
Have someone do to me what they do to you.
Absolutely. So either we restore governance and allow ourselves to govern ourselves with full autonomy, and or move the Indian Act and or clauses of the Indian Act that restrict us from going into big business. Big business that is that is often linked to resources that are in our own backyards that we're not able to leverage because of the over restrictions of the Indian Act. So lots of solutions, lots of hope there, and I think the best is yet to come.
Well, because you're advising some people, so good for you. Karen Restoule, thank you very much. 3 minutes. To those of you who have subscribed and donated, a heartfelt thank you. You're keeping us on the air. If you're watching and you haven't, please try to do so, because 4 years ago, we started this show because there needed to be independent analysis. Now more than ever, with the Online Harms Act. Once that gets into law, it's been passed once by the House, there are going to be hundreds of bureaucrats censoring the news in Canada, censoring this show. We need to keep it on the air. Thanks for your support.